Bună ziua tuturor! Sper să fiți de acord și îmi dați voie să fac prezentarea în engleză. Bine, îmi cer scuze. Despre Manufacturing Copilots. Ce înseamnă asta? For me, it means an assistant that can help me be more efficient. And when I'm thinking about this in a manufacturing environment, I can imagine a couple of examples. What if I need to solve an incident? How do I do that, and how can a copilot help me? Well, it could look up previous similar incidents, how they were solved, and based on the findings, it could basically generate an idea how to handle the current situation. Or, what if I need to prepare my production line for the next production order, and I don't know the steps? I can ask for help. It can look up what kind of production order I am preparing for, and it can look up the work instructions related to that order, and it can take the relevant sections and give it to me. Or if I want to find data, I want to do some analysis, I want to find records about how much material of a certain kind I utilized last week, and it could generate basically a query, find the records, put it on the screen. Or I want to find out about the efficiency of my production line. It could basically pull up an existing dashboard with relevant information, or why not? It can generate a new dashboard for me, a completely new screen with relevant information. So what do I need to make this happen? What do we need to make this happen? We need data. And what's that data in a context of a manufacturing environment? So let's see just a couple of examples. I need to know about my equipment, the production lines, the production facility. I need to know about production schedules, production orders. I need to know about material, bill of material, the recipe for production. I need to know when maintenance is being done, a maintenance schedule. I need to know about what kind of tests need to be executed and how to ensure quality. So basically, sampling, testing, test results need to be managed. All these records somehow we need to have. And so far I've been talking about structured data, but what about unstructured data? We need also those, like work instructions. It could be a text file. I might have some PNIDs, which basically it's a diagram, an image. And why not? Basically, we could have 3D models of our facilities as well, production lines, machinery, equipment. But where is this data? Well, usually this data is being managed by different departments of the organization. And these different departments are using different systems for it, different solutions. And hence, as a result, the data is siloed. So this is just an example of how an environment could look like, but I could have an asset management system to track my machinery and their maintenance schedule. I could have a warehouse management system to track my inventory. I could have my manufacturing execution system to manage my production schedule, and so on. LIMS for test results, SCADA for collecting data from machinery, and so on. So how do we pull this all together? We need a platform for it. We need a data platform, basically. And we need to make sure that we can integrate this data from the different data sources. We can bring them to a common denominator, a common data model, and we can contextualize it. Why? Because I can have my production order from my MES, and I can have my material inventory from my warehouse management system, but if I do not see, or algorithms do not see the relation between them, then it's not useful. So we integrate, we transform the data to a common data model, and we find relations between them. Finding these relations is sometimes easy. I can imagine that there is a production order which has a field and it contains the ID of the material that it is being produced with it. Easy, we found the relation. But since these are different systems from different vendors and probably implemented in different eras of a certain company, they might apply different naming conventions. And then what if one system tracks an ID with one ID and the other with a different ID? And there are trickier situations as well. Well, there are platforms today which already apply machine learning algorithms and other tools to find similarities between these naming conventions, and as an assisted approach, a human-assisted approach, make the contextualization and finally build up a common data model and what I call a knowledge graph, which is basically the basis of an operations twin, which is the digital twin of operations, right? So we have the data, we can use it. We can run analytics jobs, we can train machine learning algorithms on top of it and then utilize. And why not? We can use Gen AI agents on top of this data model and the data that is being stored in it. Are we ready for this? Are companies ready for this? Digital transformation is a quite expensive play, and usually companies struggle, first of all, with funding, but besides the budgetary constraints, many times there are technological impediments, organizational impediments. So getting there to have the data in a quality that makes possible applying these new new features of AI is long and hard. Why? Some companies don't even have the basic systems. They might not have an MES system for managing production. They might not have a warehouse management system for having proper inventory. They might not have a product lifecycle management system. They might have some information on paper and in Excel. And the reason for this is that it's expensive. There is no one solution fits all, especially in manufacturing execution systems. And finding the right solution it takes time and money. So the other companies who might have maybe implementations might have different providers of these systems. And majority of Accenture's clients, by the way, are so big. They have tens, if not hundreds, of facilities and plants all over the world. And usually these are gathered via acquisitions. They are different organizations. They have different IT implementations. So the landscape of IT systems that all need to be integrated together, it's extremely diverse. And managing this complexity is a huge problem. So, one step to overcome this situation is to have a better digital strategy, and part of the digital strategy to have a better integration strategy. Because a better integration strategy essentially avoids having point-to-point integrations, utilizing all kinds of different communication protocols, all kinds of different data models. If a company has a good integration strategy, then it provides a framework to their departments. In this framework, the departments have a good basis for integrating in a common data model on a common platform their data and exchanging messages while they stay decoupled. And this gives them also the possibility and the freedom that inside that framework they can innovate, extend their solution, change their solution without actually impacting the rest of the organization. So it makes it easier. It takes a lot of burden off their shoulders. In this final slide, I have created this nice circle, which essentially depicts the fact that with a common integration layer, we can integrate easily, plug in and plug out systems, change, innovate, but also we can base our data platform upon it, feed that data platform from the systems in an event-driven, near real-time manner, which also takes off a lot from the complexity of the challenge in contextualizing the data, basically. That's the journey that I have imagined, and one way to overcome the two basic challenges. Thanks. Questions?
Thank you, István. If you have questions, you might ask in Romanian if you want.
Sigur.
As a bonus. Okay.
So we can think together about a hypothetical scenario when, let's say, we plug in Gen AI on top of the platform, and I can chat with it, right? And then there's a threshold when I choose to chat with the platform instead of, let's say, the production supervisor or the workers. So that's when the system starts to produce value, when we choose it over people. We can put it that way. I know it's a bit extreme.
It's quite controversial how you said it, but yes, indeed. In a sense that we are saying that it's generating value to replace conversation with people, with conversation with an agent, but indeed, it makes more efficient.
And thinking in this framework, actually just preparing the next question, which is, okay, generally with Gen AI, we can talk about the past. So we can use information or reason about information which is already processed, and basically we are discussing about the past. But in production, we have to deal with near real-time information, and we have to reason and make conclusions with using near real-time information. And that I'm not sure. I think there's a big gap to overcome.
Yeah, well, very, very true. I would think of two types of use cases now, what you have mentioned. Indeed, we can process the historical data and generate answers based on them, but indeed that does not handle the near real-time situation. But we can use also Gen AI to not dig into the content itself, instead understand the structure of the content and at least help us with generating the right query against my data. And then I see a new nice dashboard that Gen AI says that this is what you should look at, because it has the live data and it will help you understand your current situation. A different way of applying.
Mm-hmm. So Gen AI assisted interaction with the data.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was really wondering when you showed that you want to add everything to a knowledge graph, which is a very rigid data structure. It doesn't allow for much flexibility. However, modern LLMs are actually, this is their advantage. They can deal with unstructured data. So applying LLMs to knowledge graphs, that's one I'm not sure why. And the other thing is, integrating everything together from a syntax perspective and data modeling perspective is definitely the key to progress further. But the unsolved problem here is the semantic mapping layer. And that is the pressing problem in integrating everything together. You can create data models, you can map between them, but the semantic mapping still requires a lot of manual work. So how do you see that solved?
Yeah, thanks. Well, about the part where we are talking about common data model. Well, the data model, it has the structured data part, which indeed is not well suited for Gen AI, but it has the unstructured part. So we can very well dig into the unstructured part with Gen AI, and then applying the other approach that I just mentioned to Tofi, that Gen AI basically can assist us understanding the structured data, not necessarily digging into the structured, but accessing and visualizing the way that helps me be more efficient doing a root cause analysis, seeing trends, and so on. Well, you can, but you by AI you mean Gen AI agent or? Well, we can, but this is also a third way of applying it. I gave a couple of examples, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, István.
Mulțumesc.